And welcome here, ladies and gentlemen, to Risen Champs League, as we have finally got ourselves in towards the game. And we do apologize about the wait. We had some technical difficulties, but either way, we are live. We are in the action. And for our first week, of course, we got ourselves Virginia Tech going up against Rutgers D1. And my name is Austin Visions Neal. Joined with me on the cast tonight is Jordan Switch Estrada. Switch, we are in, and we are live.
Man, we made it after all this time. Week 1 of the Champions League, and me and Visions will hopefully be commentating this hell of a show as we get into the first game here, and you can already see the lineups. But before I break it down, we're going to have a couple love taps heading off to both sides. Now, junglers starting both at the bot side, actually, which is interesting stuff, because when you look at the top side, it's actually just going to be Renekton and Ornn, which seems pretty stable for the most part. I mean, Ornn can actually compete with all the base damages that Renekton has, because he's just received a slew of buffs these days.
Absolutely has. And, you know, talking about everything that's been going through, it is going to be a very interesting one. Karthus in towards the jungle, something we've also seen rise in popularity, especially in solo queue at the very least. Syndra, I think, is another one, as Rem's actually going to take a pretty aggressive trade here versus that Aurelia, who we don't see too often, but we know good Aurelia players that have that champion down pat are certainly able to do some damaging plays, as we're going to see the Renekton start to go for the bullying.
Yeah, bit of bullying. Man, I you know what? I'm just so happy that I'm here. You know, the wait was worth it for me. I really wanted to cast this, and now we finally actually do get to cast it. It's amazing stuff. You can see Jarvan doing his Krugs, decides to elect to stay around his red quadrant. Hang on, Rem taking a heaping helping of damage once again. So aggressive coming out for the Aurelia, but there's the damage back.
Yeah, setting up potentially here for an all-in, and no ignite, but both do have the teleports here, and that's something we have to keep our eyes on. That's also, I feel like, how the meta has also shifted significantly. You can see the teleports here on 3 of the members on the side of Virginia Tech, but you get a little bit of play in the bot side there. We're going to see Jazzy try to go in for a gank, but it is not going to pay off.
Yeah, bit preempted and uncoordinated for some reason, because it looked like both the Leona and the Xayah were just not aware of that gank, so gonna be just the Jarvan taking a couple chunks and walking out.
Absolutely. Something I'm really keeping my eyes on here is, you know, the wing condition up and towards the top side. We really expect the Renekton to build the lead, you know, going up against that Ornn. The Orange is really, it's going to be the engage. So it doesn't necessarily matter how far he falls behind, because he's still always going to be useful. But I believe we did actually just have a little bit of a DC and a reconnect. I think Syndra is back there, but hopefully that does not affect the series and the rest of the games, as had a little bit of a late start, but either way, we're going to see how things are going to break out. Jarvan now is in towards the top side, going to start clearing out some of those buffs, and could actually look for that top side gank as well. Are going to see exactly what he's going to try and do on the bot side. This crab is going to fall down there. First crab of the game going to fall for us, and still we're going to see the Aurelia finally get the push in. Still has a teleport here too, which is going to be big. So as any of those ganks go a little bit too much committed, you know, that's when we see those teleports just fall through the all-in bot lanes, and VT is going to be ready to pounce on exactly that if there is any kind of a misstep or a little bit too much over aggression or any kind of the ganks here. So I have to do pay attention to those timers and whether or not they're going to be using them.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at how the bot lane influences the rest of the map here. As you can see, Ashe versus Rakan is really just going to want to mitigate all of that natural aggression that's going to come out from the aggressive duo that is Leona and Xayah. You've got beautiful pairing of CC's potential, because the Zenith Blade into the stun, into a Xayah snares, quite a deadly combination for an Ashe with no mobility and also relatively squishy Rakan, but if they are allowed to mitigate the lane, you would probably favor them once they get actually into the mid lane. As Jarvan taking a trip over to the mid lane.
Yeah, but Karthus is nearby, and you know, very smart not to go in for the all-in there, because you do not know where the enemy jungler is, and they're certainly able to turn it around with that burst damage. Both mid laners, though, did use their teleports here, so that is going to open up for a gank that does come through. Will maybe lose a little bit of CS and whatnot here, so either way, it's going to be just a slow start coming in for us in game number 1 here, Switch. And you know, just to talk about the bigger picture, winning the series and I mean getting things going off right It's just such a momentum booster. And, when you do get team morale going early, it just helps you progress so much better throughout the season. And getting that first win really does mean a lot if you're able to start building that in towards the rest of the weeks. So I have to keep our eyes on really who's going to be able to grab it. But it is a best of 3, so even whoever takes this game in 1 will still have to grab themselves 1 more.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a 3-game series would probably be the best thing to see for both teams.
Right.
I mean, you get 1 game at the very least where you get a game taken off you. You drop a game and you get to really look at how you lost the game, maybe how some of your flaws were exposed, and hopefully come into the second week stronger than you would have if you just clean 2-0 swept. It's really such an interesting phrase to say, oh, I wish we dropped 1 game in week 1. But really, if there's any flaws or if there's any problems that you're glazing over during scrims, now is really the time, week 1, to really have it exposed and start to head towards improving it.
Yeah, certainly. And something I'm keeping my eyes on here is these junglers, obviously, for the most part, seeing what they're going to be able to do for as far as setting up these ganks here with the rest of the lane. Trying to use some of the CC, I think, from the mid lane might be ideal, but we will have to watch for that and see what exactly is going to drop for us at the very least. But either way, I'm definitely excited for the pathing here, as it looks like we do have a little bit of a play breaking up for us right now, seeing if they're going to be able to drop that first kill, but no, it's just going to be him walking himself out of there, and still very slow start.
Yeah, just look at all the patience coming out from both lanes, to be honest. The Ashe and Rakan are not making any sudden movements, so that's just going to be ASAP Jazzy walking on out of there with nothing in his pocket.
And this is almost like you don't want to force too hard, but I'm right now looking at the Karthus. Karthus is loving this situation right now. He's farming up, but all in the mid lane. That's with the Vanguard's edge and forcing out the flash at the very least. So Rem is going to take quite a bit of damage, and he's going to get forced out, and that's going to open up for a gank now that could come in towards the mid lane.
Really smart stuff. He gets the blade surge reset and just ult, and that's apparently all you had to do because the flash was forced out of Rem from that one. So smart stuff, and we could see the loss of flash for the Syndra playing a role once we get to possibly our first skirmish, because that dragon is a mountain on the table right now. Neither team has really made any leaps and bounds to go and try and secure that, but eventually, once platings are less of an issue, you do sort of have a lot more free time on your hands as you're catching waves, and you think, hey, maybe a Rift Herald or a dragon wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something we'll also have to watch for, because picking up these early objectives when things aren't going around on the map, like that's your perfect opportunity to try and catch the enemy team, off of what they're typically doing, catching them off of the pathing, things like this. It is a little bit interesting to see how the game has actually played out so far, because no one wants to make that first mistake, and everyone's playing so safe at this point in time. It's almost like no one wants to make the proactive play, and once someone starts snowballing or first proactive play starts going, might just see like a whole snowball start going, as Phantom Brick is actually going to take a pretty aggressive trade in towards the top side there, but it's going to actually get fairly low. It's just going to get chunked out here, but tanky enough to stay alive here for now.
Yeah, well, it's definitely interesting in the top side as the Dominus is popped.
Yeah, that's going to be the all-in, looking to see if they're going to be able to pop him and take him down. And first blood's coming through, but that's going to be the Requiem coming down, and now it's actually going to result in a 1-for-1. Phantom Brick does clean it up, and now the Mountain Dragon also going to go over towards VT.
Yeah, during all that time, it looks like the side of Virginia Tech just decided, hey, let's just pull a play around this dragon side, and they called right because they were never spotted out, and they just get that one for free off the back of that 1-for-1 trade in the top side.
Yeah, it looks like the Karthus may be waiting for a patient gank here. Lots of summoners, but counter gank could also come out.
Right.
We'll have to see if they're going to go in for that. The arrow, that's what you're going to have to keep your eyes on here, setting up that play. But the Leona offers quite a bit of CC, so it's locking down on that Ashe. Things could get a little bit dangerous here, but a lot of patience coming down in towards the bot side, waiting for that first play to really break out. And this is really the name of the game here, Switch. Really just patience so far in towards game number 1.
Yeah, you can really see it. All the teams are just poised and waiting for something to happen, and this might be it, as Jazzy is going to be zoned out hard, already lost half of his HP, and the engages are coming through.
Yeah, it's getting very, very low. It's getting a little bit dangerous here. He's going to have to try and get himself away. One more Q might just do it. Looking for that. Trying to smite it down, and that will just be a beautiful play coming through out from him. Able to add in towards all this pressure here, as I got freezed on screen right now for me, Switch, for VLC. So I didn't get to see that actual play breakout completely, but they did force him at least out of the jungle. So Jazzy now has for the reset, and it seems like all the pressure right now in the hands of the Karthus on the map.
You know what, dude? It's okay because at the end of the day, nothing has really
That's right.
exploded quite yet. But you're seeing the positioning of the top laners and the mid laners, especially if you look at the Irelia, STX, and Luna, has been shoving out waves and getting a ton of free time. This means that he can actually just walk down to the bot lane if a fight breaks out, doesn't have to expend his teleport. Then you could possibly make a swap play where you put him into the top side after the play and have TP advantage. But really, right now, I mean, as this game is starting to appear more and more passive, I think it really goes in favor for the side of Virginia Tech because they have scaling tank top laner that's trying to nullify the Renekton. Well, they have scaling bot lane as well that's trying to nullify all of that potential aggressiveness from the Xayah and Leona. I think everything's going par for the course for the most part, even though you would like your Irelia in the mid lane to snowball.
Yeah, you really want to get that going. And I also feel like once that first item really comes through, then maybe we're going to start seeing the more aggressive plays actually start to go on towards Rem here. As it's a little bit low for comfort, but that should be one more hit here, making sure he does not get executed. Smite's going to keep him healthy enough, so he's going to be A-okay, and the Rip Trail's going to be picked up. And this is pre-14 minutes, so the plating still very much on the board to be able to pick up that extra gold in towards your pocket here.
And it's truly odd stuff. You think about picks like Renekton and like Leona, and it resembles lane dominance. But the thing is, Virginia Tech has been the team that's been picking up all of these just neutral objectives. The Mountain Drag, now the Rift Herald into the pocket of Karthus, even pre-14 minutes. Means big potential, but hang on.
Flash engage, Solar Flare also going to land. They're going
snares.
to the all-in, trying to land the feathers back in. Very, very low. Or both 80 carries, but it's going to be the Ashe who picks up the first one. Leona's going to trade it on towards the Ashe. The teleports are coming down, seeing if they're going to be taking anything more. The double is going to be collected here from the support, and now it's going to be the Ornn also looking for the engage, as that's going to be a massive turnaround here. A 3-for-2, but this time again going to be in favor of VT. Still maybe not done. Jazzy in trouble, looking to interrupt the EQ, but he's going to be able to flag and drag. It looks like a wave might be going for more, and they get him in the very end of it, make it overall a 4-for-2.
Yeah, now is when you reap the rewards of your play down in the bot side. You could already see Phantom Brook and Luna scooping up those plays, but let's take a replay first. Look at this play from Sweaty Toast. Just right in, locks down the Ashe for a long time. That's going to secure the Featherstorm snare. But the damage afterwards is not what you expect. Also, you can tell 2 TPs expended from the side of Virginia Tech. They're going to have a mana advantage this entire time and just sweep through all the members that ended up in the bot side for Rutgers D1. Also, this pick onto Jazzy, it just adds insult to injury. Even Ornn tanking the tower, just make it smooth as possible. You pan back down to the bot side, and 1 plate remaining, but a 2v2 is the name of the story here.
Oh yeah, this could be a kill going down. It should be, and yeah, Phantom Brick is going to fall as
he's
that's
still alive.
Actually, wait, how is he now going to die? This could actually be a massive turnaround as they're going to be able to get themselves one. That's going to be picked up by the Irelia, but it's going to be a big shutdown going over towards Xayah. Unfortunately, quickly cleaned up, as that will be a massive play from the Rakan to be able to at least respond. They're coming down to see if they can force themselves anymore. They're going to go in. Cataclysm's going to find one. They're also going to now pile on towards everything, trying to find that kill. That will be going over towards Ram, as that's going to be a nice response here from the side of RD1, and they're going to make it a 2-for-2.
Yeah, and on paper, this is the fight that Rutgers D1 should have won because they held a TP at that previous bot lane team fight. Now they expended the TP from the Renekton, called him down, had the mana advantage, and forced it with the Cataclysm. This is going to reap them, at the very least, a Cloud Drag, but you lose first Brick Gold. You're getting a lot of value for the side of Virginia Tech as well from this Rift Herald that might just crash onto another tower. Actually, maybe not, because Flower Kitty thinks better and doesn't decide to press on with the push. But either way, the side of Virginia Tech has not lost as much as you would think off of that play, but it could be a bit more. There's the Ornn horn.
Yeah, you hear the horn. That's going to be a potential knockup coming through there. The Vanguard's Edge also was thrown out, and they're just going to be able to drop all of his burst. Looking for that kill. Luna's going to find Rem. That's going to be a big kill. Still chasing for more to see what else they're going to be able to bite off, though. Deep in towards the jungle, looking for that second kill. See if they're going to be able to get that, but no, they're not going to go anymore as they get themselves to double off Leona. On towards the mid turret here now to see if they can get themselves this chunked out anymore, but the rest of the team is here to respond.
Yeah. Bit delayed visions, but either way, that was just a small, cute little play. The Ornn horn is fantastic engaged, and they get a +1 off of that one. Or rather, +2, I believe, off of that one. And once again, you're still maintaining control for the side of Virginia Tech, and the mid push is coming through currently. Ashe going to be hitting that tower eventually, but the response is here. You can see Jarvan hanging around the mid side and blowing the flash of Fong Francis as well. But during all that time, another tower going down in favor of Virginia Tech. They seem to be one step ahead in terms of these side lanes.
Absolutely. Doing a good job of playing around the map here at the very least. It's certainly looking like it's going to be a great game number 1 in their favor. Phantom Brick is hiding in the brush here, trying to see what kind of ruck he's going to be able to do, but he's just going to walk himself back out. And in a situation here with the goal leads, looking at about 3,000, and we got 4 minutes here on the Baron. And that's going to be the next big objective that really is going to come up for us that we do have to keep our eyes on. And there's so much CC on the side of RD1 that they are able to engage and have these great team fights around these big important objectives, but it's just a lot of damage that they can't deal with. And this Aurelia really popping off as they're actually going to be going for an all-in here in towards the bot side. Vanguard's Edge is going to be coming out, and like you said, the arrow's going to land, looking for that first kill to see if they're going to be able to do it, but no one dropping just yet. Jazzy finally going to be the first one to fall in towards a fight. Fortunately, nothing this Renekton is going to be able to do, trying to turn things around, but he is so low. That is nothing. That's with double going over towards the Karthus here, and that's going to be still a massive play for VT.
Yeah, and it's this fantastic timing as well. Once again, for the side of Virginia Tech, they're not just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. They're trying to make active plays. They ended up sacrificing their top tower, but in return got 2 nice picks. Once again, gold onto crucial members of their team, like Luna on the Irelia, is exactly what you want to see. You can see that little mini replay as the Renekton trying to slice and dice his way on out of there, but unfortunately, that's just a dead gator. It's practically boots.
Practically boots. I like it. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, a situation where you're starting to fall a little bit behind against a team that's going to be able to dive on towards your backline, and not only that, but a Karthus that just presses R and pops your carries. It makes it a little bit difficult to play out these next 10 minutes playing around the Baron that's going to be coming up here very shortly. And the setup's actually already coming through from VT. They realize that this is going to be the important objective, so they're shifting all the vision towards the top side here, laying things down perfectly for them, as this is going to be pretty much a massive lead that they've built up for themselves. The blue buff even starting to go over. They're taking all the resources away from RD1, and this is just looking like a great look here for game number 1 for the side of Virginia Tech.
That's right, and Enchanted Crucial Owl thrown out as well. Even if it doesn't land, it's fine because the Ashe opted for the Essence Reaver here. That's going to mean that the cooldown is much lower than you would imagine that it should be. I'm thinking maybe 1 minute around this time, or at least by level 11. But either way, you keep going around, you keep shooting those arrows, and eventually something's gonna stick. You're gonna get the start of a fantastic team fight, and you put Rutgers Division 1 into a position where, do I take the team fight at a disadvantage when the enemy team engaged it, or do I just give up a member and play the neutral game from that? You know, giving up members when, for example, Dragon is only 1 minute away could be quite crucial in losing even more neutral objectives.
And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take there, Switch, like you're talking about. Those Ashe arrows, you know, you just got to keep throwing them out off cooldown. And the cooldown,
dude.
That's right. And the cooldown obviously was affected there and towards some of the recent patches. And looks like due to some of those arrows going out, Jungler's going to be like, all right, I'll let you have the red buff here. Going to give that over here. But still, there's actually a lot of items. The crucial ones, looking at the Karthus here, already having the death cap before 20 minutes on top of the jungle item. Like, that is some massive damage that is going to be coming through. And there's not a whole lot of magic resist that is on their team at the moment that's been picked up for items. So this is definitely going to be popping them. And even if you dive to kill the Karthus, well, he's still got the Requiem, and it does play or is actually a little bit difficult to play around here, as we're going to see some more Vision Beast set up. Our next dragon's going to be coming up here as well. Ocean Dragon going to be on the table for the taking. Both already have themselves 1 elemental each, so this would be a nice pickup. Get yourself some extra regen, as they're already rotating down here for it.
And I really want to highlight the timing over here. The side of Virginia Tech have already set up the vision, while on the other hand, you've got it looks like just an intention for the side of Rutgers D1 to say, okay, screw the dragon, we're not even going to play around it. We're just going to be trying to secure, you know, our own blue side quadrant, because they know that Baron is still a big issue that they have yet to really resolve yet. You can see the pushes coming into the mid lane. And actually, I completely agree. I think the Karthus pick is shaping up to look fantastic, right? You would think Karthus in the early game would be sacrificing a bit of presence, but it wasn't necessarily true, where you saw Flower Kitty actually countering in ganks coming out. Hang on a second, as the Requiem's coming down.
Yeah, Rem's in some trouble. Not going to find the grand entrance there a little bit too early, but able to at least stopwatch and flash away at the very least. As they're going to go in for more potentially here, and that's just going to drop a big cooldown there. But either way, they get the summoners off the Syndra, who no longer is able to escape them the next time they engage. And the Baron, oh, it's already at 5k.
Yeah, all of this control is going to mean that the side of Virginia Tech have themselves a sneaky Baron. They're going to be able to secure it, and that's also going to secure this mid tower as well. You can see the Jarvan hovering around, but decides not to. What a fantastic pickup, and all off the back, once again, of this Karthus in the jungle that... you're supposed to be sacrificing something for getting such a powerful DPS mage in the jungle position, but Virginia Tech played around it perfectly in the early game. If anything, it was only to their benefit. And once they've hit this mid game, they just got themselves a free Baron at around 21 minutes.
Oof. And free is the best term you could possibly use. Setting up the two-man was just excellently coordinated, because you would never expect them to go for that without the Ashe, DPSing. But because of the isolation damage from the Qs on Karthus, it just absolutely shreds it. The Mountain obviously certainly is going to add and help towards that here. And this is now a little bit of a scary spot. You're either looking for some crazy flanks that need to come through from the Jarvan, from the Renekton, and pop something like the Ashe before these fights really break out here, because it just seems like VT, are really on the same page and not taking any shortcuts whatsoever on the map. They're warding correctly, moving in towards the jungle as units, clearing out the pink wards. Like, this is beautiful play from the side of Virginia Tech, and now they're going to start knocking down these towers here very shortly.
Yeah, it's just the flow chart of taking tower after tower and receiving no real retaliation as well from the side of Rutgers D1. They have a decent amount of engage. They just don't feel confident enough to really pull the trigger, though.
Really waiting here. The hawk shot's going to be thrown out, and looks like all the pink wards just went down on the map at once here for the side of RD1. A little bit unfortunate, but this is just the pressure that's really coming through right now for Virginia Tech, doing a beautiful job on towards the map. This tower looks like it's going to fall, forcing the Renekton back, and he can't win the split versus the Irelia because of how fed she is. And now another tower is going to fall. So this is just beautiful macro play, beautiful rotations, the setup, everything's coming through so well for them right now, Switch. And this is resulting in a goal lead that's starting to get a little bit out of hand. The Requiem's just going to drop. They're going to go with the Crystal Arrow. Goodbye, Rem. First one's going to go through. Grand Entrance and Solar Flare going to come down. That's going to be the Ornn throwing out the ultimate, not finding anything. Now let's Jazzy try to go in. He doesn't have enough to finish off the kill. That will be Karthus finishing out the first one. Now on towards Irelia, who lands a double stun, going all in. That's also going to be a follow over the wall in the base. They don't care. Feathers are called back and going to land the stun. So it will be the Xayah living, but the damage is done. 3 members are down, and the base is being broken open.
Immaculate plays coming out from Virginia Tech. Once again, no time is wasted. They could have waited for the Baron minions to do the job, but they decide, hey, if you want something done, do it yourself. It's going to be the TP to continue this push as they hit the Nexus towers on the target. One down already. This is the final retaliation, perhaps.
Yeah, they got to pull the trigger. You got to just go in at this point in time. Grand Entrance whiffs, but they're just going to take the Nexus for free. It's like, if you're not going to engage, guys, well, we're just going to take a free win. We're going to take a free Baron. We're going to take 3 towers, and we're just going to win a team fight, taking down 3. And well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be game number 1 to Virginia Tech. Playing that, if I don't say myself, clean as hell, Switch. That was just beautiful display of talent on towards game number 1.
Absolutely. And Virginia Tech, quite a performance. It looked clean, but for the side of Rutgers D1, it's harsh to say, but they lived like they died. Just lack of confidence, really. They just never pulled the trigger with all of the engage at their disposal as well. You look at the composition on paper, Leona, Jarvan, fantastic and consistent engage as well. You're at least going to be blowing summoners, and then you play around the summoner cooldowns. But on the other hand, it really was just nothing happening. Losing even neutral objectives without a fight in the early game is not quite what you want to see when you draft picks like the Leona. But unfortunately, that definitely does expose some weaknesses that we talked about, which is good. You don't want to just have a wash of a loss. At the very least, Rutgers D1 have a good idea of what's going wrong, and it might just be a bit of a lack of confidence, lack of communication, and orchestrating plays.
I think, yeah, orchestrating plays. Like, it just seemed like they weren't trying to even like win in a sense. Like there was no real, they tried to make some plays in towards the bot side at the very least, but it seemed like they were almost playing too scared. And a team like Virginia Tech realizes that you're playing too scared. Well, they're like, all right, well, we have champions that are able to dive on towards you, win these kind of really scrappy fights, if you will, because of the Requiem, of course, from the Fed Karthus. So it just adds towards it. And well, you saw the display of it on towards the map. They didn't do enough proactive plays in the early game, and they just got blown out and weren't able to get to that point where, the Zaya could really come online, where the Sindra is able to one-shot the carries. And because of that, Virginia Tech clean up a very clean game number 1, but we'll have to see what adjustments will be made going in towards the draft in game number 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw it to a short little break to set up that game lobby. Make sure you do not go anywhere. Do not want to miss game number 2. And welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ourselves in towards game number 2 to see what changes are actually going to be made. If you are just tuning in, Virginia Tech picking up a very clean game number 1 there, just really due to any proactive plays coming through from Rutgers D1. They weren't active enough in towards the early game. They didn't get the gold on towards the right champions, and they weren't taking objectives on the map. And because of that, Virginia Tech punished them super hard. I have to see if they're going to continue that in towards game number 2 here, Switch.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look from the side of Rutgers D1, hey, it's okay if you're having a bit of, jitters in game 1, right? This is the start, week 1 of Champions League, and it's okay if the line of communication isn't there for the first game. I think now you really have to say, hey, if no one's talking in chat, just talk, like you may as well have comms cluttered than it be the opposite, where no one's talking, no one's trying to set up any plays. But that's definitely not the only fixes that could be here for the side of Rutgers D1, as we are getting right into the next pick and ban. I mean, you're going to want, at the very least, a much better early game than we saw earlier, because we've already been shown, hey, Virginia Tech didn't even pick that fantastic of an early game, but they are proactive and they do make plays if you give them enough time. So I think for the side of Rutgers D1, play what's comfortable to you and try not to give all the time in the world to Virginia Tech. Try and beat them to the punch.
Yeah, I think really just making the necessary changes on towards the draft here, and having some winning lanes, I feel like, in towards the early game is going to be super necessary for them to play off of, because last game they went for some late game scaling. The Syndra was not effective in towards the Aurelia, and now it looks like they're going to opt in for a similar composition. They have at least locked themselves in the Xayah to make sure the Lovers duo does not go over, as well as the Kled, but the quick pickup afterwards is going to be that Gragas.
Yeah, Kled as a blind pick is definitely interesting to me, and also just picking up a solo laner in general right now is not necessary, but you could argue that Rutgers D1 are fearing that the Kled could be banned out. They feel comfortable playing on it, and that does have value. You know, if you're used to having a Kled engage to really start a winning team fight in scrims, translating that onto a stage is definitely necessary sometimes around. And for Rutgers D1, I definitely think comfort is something that you would want to go towards, but the Olaf as well, good amount of synergy with the Kled, because they're both trying to achieve the same thing, right? Run into the enemy line. However, Virginia Tech have, shall we say, an explosive duo that is Gragas and Yasuo. It's the Montage Boys, as the explosive cask is the perfect way to send your Yasuo straight into the enemy backline. It's fantastic when it works, but you do have to make sure that your Yasuo gets off on the right foot in the early game.
Oh, well, looks like that it's going to be a Tristana going over towards the mid lane picked up for us, and it's going to be the Ornn in response, as well as the Sivir picked up. Okay. So this is a little bit of a change coming into us for game number 2 here, Switch, but it looks like the same plan for Rutgers D1. They are looking to see if they're going to be able to maybe go in towards the later stages in scaling. Jazzy is on Olaf, so he is a little bit more on a active champion besides the Jarvan, who's maybe more team reliant, but we'll have to see how things are really going to play out here, and we'll have to really look at Jazzy, I feel like, if the early game is going to go a lot better here for Rutgers.
Yeah, Jazzy definitely does need to step up, and this looks to be one of the picks to do that. Olaf is fantastic in the early game because of his base damages coming out from the undertow, the reckless swing as well. He could definitely put on a show if he catches the Gragas off guards in perhaps a river or around some sort of brush. But you look at the side of Virginia Tech, how they've been drafting, and I think it's a fantastic amount of, shall we say, intentional balance, where they're not picking 3 carries in each lane, or they're not picking a carry in each lane, rather. You definitely can see that they're putting their eggs into Yasuo basket. They have a facilitator and also insurance that is Sivir, because she scales fantastically with crit. And once again, you've got the biggest role player that is the Ornn in the top side. He's basically just going to be mitigating whatever's going to go up against him. Last game, it was the Renekton. This time around, it's the Kled. And you're just hoping for the same story as last game, where, okay, Ornn's going to make it out alive. Maybe he can give up 1 kill, but by the time you reach the mid game, you're going to have that on-command engage to work with, and that is a beautiful tool in the hands of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they certainly have a lot of great things going for them, as it's going to be an exciting game number 2 for us here, ladies and gentlemen, to see if it is really going to be Virginia Tech answering with the hot 2-0, starting the season off with some momentum here with that first game underneath their belts, or Rutgers have to see if they're going to make those adjustments. Definitely seemed like there were some nerves playing effect, but have to see exactly what they're going to change up with the strategy going in towards game number 2 to see if they can force game number 3. But guys, we're getting ready to throw it to a short little break so that we can get ourselves in towards the game. Make sure you guys do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to jump in towards game number 2 here between Virginia Tech going up against Rutgers D1. If you are just tuning in, again, Virginia Tech currently up 1-0 in the series, played a super clean game number 1 there, closing it out there before 25 minutes and taking the Baron even super early there with the 2-man. They had some excellent strategies there, Switch, going into game number 1, but we can't count Rutgers D1 out just yet. Again, it could just been in those nerves in towards it, coming back in towards the season, first season game, things like this, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to turn things around.
Yeah, you're hoping if they had a coach, he gave a rousing speech, and
that's right.
Hopefully the side of Rutgers D1 are also much more confident on whatever roster or whatever pick and ban they're running currently, as once again, the Kled and the Olaf are going to be the dynamic duo running into the bottom line. Actually, we didn't touch on this, but Swain is a support champion that has been rising up in popularity. Might just come true here.
Oh, no, that's a kill going over, and that's a kill that probably shouldn't have happened, but that's definitely a good start coming off of the last game there, and also that goal did actually go over towards the Kled here, who did take Ignite, so this might just actually opt in for now a lane that you can play to here with the Olaf.
Very fortunate stuff for the side of Rutgers D1. They get the snare. That's just instant death after that, because the Swain pulls them right on in, and you found your footing for the most part already if you're Rutgers D1. 1 kill onto the Kled of all things, which could mean a different story possibly in the top side. We've known Phantom Brick as the one player last game that has mitigated the pressure that came out from the Renekton last game. This time around, actually Kled going into the mid side. This is a very unique swap, actually, because Kled can actually work quite well against the Yasuo. As long as he doesn't wind wall the bear trap on a rope, you actually have a lot of burst that Yasuo cannot necessarily compete with. Running the press the attack as well is massive stuff. But on the top side, I mean, that's just range versus melee. You know, I know Ornn has a decent amount of wave clear and range damage, but nothing really comparable to the Tristana, so you're just thinking, hey, free farm.
Absolutely free farm. And looking in towards the Kled, in towards this lane, it's going to get a little bit scary, as they did actually go for the lane swap here, just trying to switch things up. I do like this quite a bit, and the Tristana in towards the Ornn is going to be affected like we were talking about, and Tornado's going to land very early on. Luna coming off of a very hot game number 1 there with the Aurelia, actually destroying Rem. Yeah. Luckily, Rem does not have to go in towards that laning phase there again here, and is going to have to try his chances up against the Phantom Brick, who also had a pretty good game number 1 himself. But either way, keeping your eyes on the Yasuo, keeping your eyes on the jungler for seeing if there's going to be any kind of punish when that Yasuo does go for the all-ins or does look to overextend at the very least here. But definitely going to be a better start at the very least. Which have to see if they're going to be proactive on the map. Nice stun lands here. Actually, that's going to be a lot of damage. Sivir in some trouble. The shield is going to come through, but Automobster is going to find a big kill, and this is looking a lot better already going in game number 2, Switch.
Fantastically played from the bot lane of Rutgers Division 1 as they get themselves a great kill. And onto the Xayah as well. She's actually going to have to invest the TP for the Sivir just to sort of not lose too much off the back of that play. But junglers also engaging on each other. That's going to be the Gragas trying to make it out. Dodges away from the Undertow as well. So,
dodge everything. Fancy feet. Oh, that's a flash. Jazzy, nice reaction, but it was an even better play from the support. Finding the opening, just not able to find the knockup. However, Jazzy no longer having the flash, still plays in the mid lane here. Is Luna going toe-to-toe with the Kled. Is already ahead in towards the laning phase, but falling a little bit behind in CS as Luna tries to climb and shorten that lead.
Yeah, to touch a little bit on the bot side.
Oh. It's an all in there. At the bomb, Rem actually takes a pretty hefty trade right back over there due to the minions and a clap from the Ornn, and he's handling the pressure decently well, as best as you could versus a ranged AD carry, but the CS lead definitely still in favor of that Tristana.
I'm telling you, man, these base damages are not to be trifled with from the Ornn. That's a beautiful wind wall.
Nice flash there from Blade Q, but it's going to result in almost all in. Luna might actually decide to go in. Teleport coming through. Luna is drawing so much pressure. Jazzy's going to land some undertows.
The
flash. Might be able to find the kill. He's going to get the passive shield. And you can see the emo, ladies and gentlemen. He's blowing everything, absorbing so much pressure in the mid lane right now.
Yeah, changing the context. That was engage.
Right in between the uprights, and they're just going to lock it out.
And once again, Luna in the mid side, just changing the context, blowing TPs that you would think shouldn't have to be forced out. But Luna is just playing so aggressively, kept pressuring the Kled enough to call Rem over. And now Rem finally walking back to that top side. But again, I mean, Luna out scot-free, didn't die for that one. And in the bot side as well, you could see the bottom lane of Rutgers Division 1 did make it out to safety. And they didn't have to blow summoners either, so not too shabby. And really, Jazzy is the one that we were looking towards on the Olaf to be making the big plays. He's showing up everywhere Flower Kitty is showing up. It's just not quite giving him an advantage just yet.
That's right. And, on the opposite side of things, Flower Kitty's still trying to make some plays on towards the map here, but hasn't found any successful ganks. He does have the Predator boots locked in for himself here, so things could get a little bit scary. Sivir gets caught again. Remember, no flash, and Francis very low, and looks like he's going to be able to walk it out, but look at the pressure from this bot lane here. They're putting in so much damage towards him, and he's getting forced out already 0-2, giving over a massive lead. BF sword to a long sword and a Doran's blade here, Switch.
Yeah, when you have all your cooldowns available on the Swain, it's actually a very punishing combo. You land the snare, pull them into your W, and it's perfect because you're setting it up for the Xayah, much like a Morgana binding would set up the combo perfectly for Xayah. This time around, though, it's pulling them even closer, which is why this lane is so difficult to deal with right now, even for a very sturdy, consistent laner that is Sivir. However, she did get a couple nerfs recently. Now, Flower Kitty making an appearance. There's the horn.
Right. Oh, no. He's actually going to go back, but still manages to land it. He might be able to take a kill down with him, but it's the flash body slam. Now he's going to go in for the jump. Can he find it? He wouldn't get the reset if he gets the kill. Bomb ticking down. Will he get it? He does. So that's going to be a big play. At least make it a 1-for-1.
Yeah, no triumph shenanigans on that one, so that it actually is the 1-for-1. And because you got that positive trade in the top side, you're able to get a mana advantage here where it matters. Around the bot side, Cloud Dragon is in the eyes of Rutgers Division 1, and they're looking to secure this one up with no problems.
Going for a little seal, attempting for it, but not able to find it. Blade Cube's going to go a little aggressive here, and he's going to eat the tornado. He's actually going to take the last breath here. So Luna going for the all-in, does not have the mount. Ignites are ticking down. Can he get the remount here? Looks like he should be able to actually walk it out. I think he's going to be A-okay. Yeah, he does, and he has Jazzy to back him up. So very, very close. Luna getting closer and closer to those solo kills.
It's actually a lot of respect coming out from the side of Luna. Might have thought that the Olaf was closer than he actually was, so decided to just give some space over to Kled. Also, there's the remount that you do have to be wary of. I still think he should have gone for the kill, though, but that's just observer vision giving me all that. And gone.
Oh, this is a gank. Oh, that's going to be the cast perfectly into the body slam. Look at that. Flower Kitty. It's going to say, good night, Rem. You can go towards the top side. It does not matter what lane you go to. We're still going to shut you down.
That's just big brain stuff right there. The epitome of 200 IQ for the Gragas player. Flower Kitty, once again, 100% kill participation so far. He's clawing his team back out of the deficit, but right now they're still around 1,500 gold separating both of these teams currently. You're seeing a lot of pressure here in the bot side because of that sick combo. Level 6s are coming through, though. Right now, Featherstorm currently available, but let's take a look.
Yeah, look at this.
The big brain himself as Ren is going to jump away. And
oh, my God. Right in there. Right, boom. Right there for the body slam. That was just beautiful, Switch. That was absolutely beautiful. Got to get some credit towards that, man. Flower Kitty really playing that Gragas to its full effectiveness there and shutting down the Tristana once again in the top side, who really should actually just be dominating against the Ornn here in the top side.
Yeah, I mean, the melee versus ranged advantage is one thing, and especially because the Tristana has opted for the lifesteal as well from the Vampiric Scepter. You would think that he's eventually going to be out-sustain the Ornn, but I mean, Ornn, he's just very underrated right now, in my opinion. The base damages, the wave clear, and he's also got really good trading no matter how far away you are, but this might just make it happen. The Clyde ultimate, Jazzy as well on the Olaf. There's the flash.
Yeah, they're investing so much, but Phantom Brick is so tanky. He does have to blow the flash here, but it's going to be the ultimate coming out now. They land the stun, the last breath on towards Tristana. Now the flash from Luna, but the ultimate is going to throw him back in. Luna in some trouble. Phantom Brick as well. Tornado comes through, but the Ragnarok is going to neglect the knockup. Now, seeing if Flower Kitty's going to be able to answer back with anything, but they've already lost 2. They might be able to take down 3. This would be massive. Can he get himself out? One more turret shot's going to come through, but no, he manages to make it out, and they get themselves a 3-4-0.
And 2 ambitious coming out. There's the flash, actually, from Sweaty Toast, but 2 ambitious coming out from the duo that was Flower Kitty, or rather Phantom Brick and Luna on that one. Hopefully we're going to be catching a replay of that soon, because that was some crazy stuff. Let's take a look as the Clyde charge doesn't actually impact. Here's now the Ornn Horn that's going to send Luna in. It's still a 3v2 though, so the flash away, the disengages from Rem, and now Luna is stuck, gets triggered with the bear trap on the rope. Yes, does demount Blakeu, but at the end of the day, he's nowhere close to in range for Flower Kitty to get the kill. +1 on top of that, 2-0, and you find yourself with a fantastic play for the side of Rutgers Division 1.
Get a close up on Jazzy after the nice play there. But, you know, that was a play that didn't actually have to go for a switch. Oh, I'm going to have to hold that thought. That's an all-in. Zaya very low. Going to be taken down with the Ignite. Francis is going to flash away to safety as well as on the hunt. Ram is going to come through, and Sweaty Toast is going to clean up the kill with the ultimate, resulting in just a 1-for-1.
Yeah, big stuff actually coming out there. The TP was blown off of Rem, so you definitely do appreciate that one. You can see now that they know, okay, Tristana in the top lane has invested towards the bot side. You get an opening to push this top tower. They are also looking around, perhaps invading and getting some minions, but the Rift Herald is actually going to be the response here for the side of Rutgers. They want to free up a bit of that pressure coming out, and unfortunately it's not looking to collide onto a tower just yet. Here we go, Jazzy and a TP coming out.
Flower Kitty in some trouble. Ragnarok was actually probably a little bit earlier, but Shelly is going to get the charge off, and some plating is going to go over. That's going to be a beautiful gas throwing Jazzy and in towards the grand entrance. He's going to go golden for a second, trying to buy some time. Undertow's going to come through. That's going to be a lot of damage, and Autumn Mobster's going to be able to find a kill on towards the Gragas, resulting in a successful play, and now they might be able to push for more.
Yeah, once again, just great stuff coming out of Rutgers Division 1. They are making intentional plays, this one along the mid side, and they get to force kills as well. That's the first brick gold going right into their pockets, and the transition to the Cloud Drake looks to be the call for them. And how can you blame them? Honestly, they're still at a man advantage because Gragas has not yet hit Summoner's Rift quite yet.
That's right, and the Dragon is going to go down, the second Cloud Drag of the game, going over towards RD1 now, and, this is a much better game overall altogether, obviously, because they're in the lead, but not only that, but they're making proactive plays on the map. They're actually moving their champions and players around the map significantly well, using the Tristana, obviously, to come towards the mid lane, secure themselves that tower after the Rift Herald was dropped, and, this is looking like the game we just saw from Virginia Tech, after coming off of play after play, making all the macro plays that they were doing. Now they're starting to get a taste of their own medicine here, and RD1 is fighting back.
Yeah, Rutgers has been playing quite solidly so far. Not necessarily dropping any lanes yet, but there's the last breath.
Charge doesn't get him very far, and the body slam and the ignite should result in a kill, and that's a shutdown going over to a man who you probably did not want to get that gold.
Yeah, that is a bit spooky, giving the kill gold on over to Luna, as we know how impactful Luna can be. But honestly, it's still a bit worrisome right now for the side of Virginia Tech, as you can see a lot of gold distributed onto the double marksmen that are in Rutgers Division 1. You've got 2 kills onto both the Tristana and the Xayah. Xayah now looking to get a bit more plating gold. There it is. And that's eventually going to come back to bite you because of all the scaling. Here's Jazzy now, arriving just to apply some pressure.
Say hi.
Yeah, Flower Kitty as well. He's waiting to say hi. Hasn't quite built up the confidence to raise his hand.
Right. Have to always keep your eyes on that Predator. The stopwatch is available too, so they really could look for an all-in, and they are waiting very patiently. The pings are coming down. They still maybe think Jazzy's nearby, but he has left, so if the gank does come through, it would be a 3v2, and the Rakan does have the quickness as well as the Grand Entrance, so could set up for a good play here, but it actually looks like a reset is coming through here from the bot lane of RD1, and this is good timing, so there's going to be no play forced on towards it. No gank is going to come through. Luna's going to come back towards the mid lane. He does not have his tower anymore here, and actually going to see a 2v2 breakout. Both junglers entering the fight. The last breath is going to come through with a Predator, and now that's going to be a lot of damage on towards Blade. He's going to flash away, but that's right into the Grand Entrance again, throwing him around like a ping pong ball. That's going to be the support picking up yet another one.
Yeah, it's like playing pinball with the Kled on that one. The problem with the 2v2 right now of mid-jungle for the side of Rutgers Division 1 is once Yasuo gets his last breath off, you really cannot compete with all the DPS that he's putting out. That's once again another positive play, a bit more extra cash into the pocket of Luna, and he's scaling up, but here we go. Another possible play here. Coco is going to have to get out of there, taking too much damage. The tower's quite low as well.
He's getting pretty low. A lot of turret plating, I believe, also went over. 5 in towards the mid lane, obviously, as the tower was secured. I think they took 4 down towards the bot side, and they got 2 on the top side here, as well as now the tower has fallen here. So this is actually a pretty significant lead, only at the 16-minute mark here as we're closing in on. The TP now is going to be actually forced out from the Sivir. Francis just coming down towards the bot lane, making sure that this turret is going to stay alive, and looks like they're going to keep it here for the time being, but it's just going to take a dive to come through from the mid laner, from the jungler, and they could easily set up a couple of kills as well as another tower going down.
Right, and now on the bot side, now that you have such a low tower, typically we actually see teams make a bit of a bait play for the bot lane tower. They know that Rutgers wants to get their final tier 1 into their pocket, so you could actually just call over the Gragas Yasuo duo, make sure that once a lot of members of Rutgers D1 show up to secure the spot side, you commit to a fight, you bring the entire thing to the table, you bring everyone over, and you hopefully come out on top just due to proactivity. But you can see a bit of resources matched here as you've got Jazzy hanging around, but this is going to be a 4v3, 5v3.
Oh, a beautiful ultimate there. It's going to be used by Mobster, but he's still in some trouble, and Flower Kitty's going to clean up the first kill. That will be Sweaty Toes going golden. He does have the ultimate popped, and there's 5 members down here, resulting in a kill going through. Can't find the kill on Flower Kitty, and they're going to get themselves a 2-for-0.
And it's the classic. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this where tower is so low, you get only a jungler in the form of ASAP Jazzy showing up to try and confirm this tower kill, but really, it's the side of Virginia Tech bringing everything and the kitchen sink to the equation here. You can see the engage coming in from Rakan. They finally do manage to get on top of the Xayah. The TP as well was a bit too deep. Or rather, the Swain a bit too deep, and he ends up going down for that one. It's just throw as many members as you can into the bot side, take what you know you can get, And now with a bit of an advantage, perhaps the side of Virginia Tech are looking to contest now this dragon here because, I mean, unfortunately, Gragas was chunked out quite hard there, so
yeah,
I don't actually think it's going to be a play.
Oh my god, I thought that hit. No, it did not though, but it is going to go over. It was extremely close, and it was also a top tower that ended up going down. Luna's taking the 1v1, but the wind wall doing wonders here for the time being, and now that's going to be the ultimate, making sure he does not follow the last breath. However, the rocket jump now is going to be on reset. Greg is coming in. That's going to be a lot of damage. Looking to pop him. He has to flash away. Now the charge coming through to see who it's going to be on. Looks like Flower Kitty's the target. He's going to go golden, but the inevitable is going to happen. He's certainly going to fall. He's going to throw out the ultimate, but Rem is going to clean him up at the very end. Fight is not done. They're still posturing, playing around the blue buff. It looks like finally now teams are going to just back away, take the blue buff if they can, and just the one kill over towards Flower.
Oh, hang on. Rakana actually.
He got that one.
Coco got the blue buff. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff, but that was actually a lot invested into just a 1-for-0 trade. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, but at the end of the day, you'll take what you can get for Rutgers because they're just trying to stay in the lead right now. 6,000 gold is looking to be the advantage, and eventually you're just hoping that the scaling is going to kick in. It's been a quiet game, especially for the side of Rem, because he's just been in the top side, just playing Farm Simulator against the Ornn. Got a couple plates pre-14 minutes, and eventually wants to start shredding through, but it's going to take a while because Ornn has an easy job itemizing this game. He's just going to build as much armor as possible. The only AP threat right now, or ever, for the side of Rutgers is the Swain, but it's a support, so what are you scared of?
Right. Now we're starting to see exactly what Virginia Tech did towards Rutgers and towards game number 1 here, which is moving towards the jungle, start getting all of these lanes pushing in their favor. And the Baron's going to be coming up here in about 30 seconds. Last time we saw the Baron go down with just 2 members on it, and it was also with the help of a Mountain Dragon. And RG1 have themselves a Mountain Dragon here and a good amount of DPS available, as well as they're going to start fighting over some vision. They're going in. The Ragnarok's actually procced. I don't know if they're going to be able to get anything. It looks like that is just going to be an ultimate cooldown. Unfortunately, not able to find any engage, and no longer going to have that for the next fight.
Yeah, and the control is starting to form right now for the side of Rutgers. They're not wasting any time pressuring around this Baron side. And because of the double marksman composition that you have, it's actually pretty scary stuff to leave the Baron alone without any vision for the side of Virginia Tech. So they're trying to inch their vision forward more and more. Really, the problem is right now, you just cannot really walk into this side of the river currently. It's too many punishing actions happening.
Yeah, it's very scary to face check this team, like you're saying, and you know they're just struggling to even know if they're actually on top of the Baron or not here, as they're just going to have to start fighting over vision. And with the waves always shoving in, you know they're always going to have to play around that and walk in as a unit here. And it looks like they are going to now be able to walk in. There is a bit of a reset coming out on towards the map for some of the members here on Rutgers, so it looks like that is going to result in some vision going back over. They know they're not on the Baron for now here, but the question is, you know, is RD1 now just going to come in towards a stalemate? Like, are they going to keep forcing the plays like they were doing previously for the first 15 minutes of the game? But they have taken pretty much all the other towers. It's only tier 2s in the mid lane, tier 2 and towards the bot lane here, so it is a little bit harder to play around some of these objectives when you want to keep this constant Baron control and, you know, make the enemy think that you might just be doing and force him to face check here, as Flower has to walk himself up just to see, as they're just going to drop some vision, walk himself out, and this is what it's really just going to be here for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, the points of contention, you can see very clearly are, I mean, around this ramp over here, the brush as well, and the line brush over there. It's right now just being contested like crazy. It's just a whip swap of vision over and over again, and eventually a pick is going to happen. That's right. It's just a matter of time.
At some point in time, it's got to come through, and there's lots of champions that are able to engage. And actually, Autumn Monster, he's going to have to get himself over this wall. He's going to get chunked up very, very hard. But the ultimate for Flower Kitty is going to be massive, and now this is not looking good for Rutgers. That's going to be Sweaty Toast going golden Ragnarok pop from the jungle to get himself away. Charge now will actually be blocked, and this is going to be a massive last breath that's going to find a kill on Sweaty Toast. Tornado does go wide, Blade Cube trying to see if he can get himself out, but Luna says no. The return play looks like it's coming into effect. Rem looking to clean up the support at the the very least. It is 3 kills already going over. The resets could come through. They're on the Baron. Yasuo could look for the flank. This is a little bit dangerous. Looks like it is going to be the Rakan staying alive due to the stopwatch. They're peeled off of the Baron, and it looks like that was exactly what Rem needed to do, but the question is are they going to go back to it? And it looks like the answer is yes.
I mean, this is the thing, though, Visions. Rutgers have bought enough time where you've got TP available. You've got members coming back up, still have HP on this Baron right now. Yeah, Jazzy might have to go for a steal play here.
It's going to be
There's Rem around the bot side as well.
Oh, he has the flash. He could go over the wall. Like you said, they're getting low. Rem's going to get them very low. It could go wrong. He's going to flash over the pin now. It's going to be a 50-50. It's going to go over. And it's going to be stolen. That's massive. And now it's turning around. They're going in for everything. Phantom Brick falls. 4 members fall completely, but this might just be 5 as Luna tries to keep something up, but the beautiful flash from Rem results in him staying alive. Quadra secured from the 80 carry, and now we're going to get a replay on that fight.
Let's look at this entire play from start to finish. It was a beautiful pick onto Autumn Mobster. They pressed the issue after that. Ragnarok now popped from the Olaf, and the disengages were coming through, but that last breath was sick. Able to secure the 3rd kill, actually. And now you're just thinking, okay, great, we got Baron down, but look at these plays coming out, especially from Rem. Bought so much time. Now you've got Jazzy hanging around the top side, Rem to start dishing damage in the front. The Baron getting lower and lower. The wind wall is not quite enough to really stop this play from happening. The flash in actually manages to get it with the reckless swing. Of all things, both smites expended, but it was the swing to bring Rutgers right back into this game.
Yes, and that was a Baron that probably should not have that they shouldn't have went for here for the side of Virginia Tech, and they were a little bit too low. They paid for it. They chased a little bit too far and didn't have all their members. Now this is going to be a little bit scary. The double mountain is going to be intact for them here too, as they did clean that up while we were watching that replay, and that's just going to help the Tristana, the Xayah shred these towers. And when you have a double 80 carry composition with, you know, great zoning from your support, with great engage from your mid laner here, it's going to be devastating once you start looking to get on towards some of these towers. And this is looking like it is going to be in the favor of Rutgers here for the time being, but we can't stop to think about, you know, the good plays that they still do have for them. The Rakan engage in towards the quickness, the ultimate from Flabberkid. He can set them up, and they might just look to try and defend this here as they are stacked up in the mid lane. It is an open inhibitor, and now they're going to start the push.
Yeah, you can see a split push actually forming. They're saying Blade Cube to the bot side. It's going to be actually a 1-3-1, as Tristana does have a lot of innate safety. The rocket jump can actually get you over walls that a normal dash could not, and bot tower, tier 2. Already taken the way of Blade Cube. Now Rutgers, or rather Virginia, gonna respond to this.
That's right, call the Forge God is used. Shutdown comes through. They found Xayah. That's the ultimate thrown over Ragnarok. Make sure he does not get knocked up. Now the rest of the team looking to join the fight. One member already going down. The Xayah has been deleted, meaning that they don't have all the DPS they need. So they're going to back away. And this is a beautiful engage from the side of Virginia Tech. They're going to stop the Baron push. They don't even lose their inhibitor. This is going to be a nice hold, stalling out the Baron here for the time being.
And I'll say for the side of Rutgers, I would have loved to see a lot more patience, a lot more nuance thrown into this push, because they just decided to send their Xayah way deep into the mid inhibitor without really pulling members from the side of Virginia Tech to either the top or the mid or the bot. It ended up just being the side of Rutgers responding to this dive in the mid lane, but at the end of the day, they had Baron buff in their hands. They had the world to take off of it, or at least punish from the side of Virginia Tech, but they only get really one tower. Mid inhibitor is still alive, so this next Baron is still free game for either one who wants to pick it up.
Absolutely is. And the longer you stall out, the longer you get your Sivir back in towards the game. You know, if we remember at the start, the Sivir actually gave 2 early deaths over, one at level 1 and then one in towards the laning phase, and has pretty much that has set her behind significantly. But now she's actually caught back up in farm. She's still down quite a bit in kills, and I believe probably still down in terms of gold here, as 3 items have been locked in, as well as the stopwatch here for Autumn Mobster. And the more time, you stall here is way better, I feel like, for the Yasuo and the Sivir. The Tristana, scales pretty well, but there's not a whole lot of frontline that is really available for the side of RG1, as the Kled and as well as the Olaf are just going to get shredded through on top of the Swain. So excellent things going for them as long as they keep stalling, and now they're going to start moving back in towards the top side of the map, start clearing out some vision, and start setting up here for that next Baron that will be coming up here in about a minute 30.
Yeah, once again, it's the Baron game, and right now the only thing on the mind, but the next Mountain Dragon, the final Mountain Dragon rather, is finally coming up, and I think this is something that Virginia Tech does not want to give away. It's already 2 mountains in the pocket of Rutgers, and to give a third over to a double marksman composition it makes the late game so difficult to play. So this is not quite what you want to see right now. Virginia Tech are going to need to slowly start inching their vision forward soon.
Yeah, and something to note is, like, if there was another fight that actually ends up being won here for the side of Virginia, there's so much gold still available on the map. They haven't taken any towers here, and because of that, there's a gold lead between 10,000, but it almost doesn't feel like the gold lead is that significant because of the way we have seen the response from Virginia Tech. When they find openings, though, they absolutely commit as a unit, and it pays off. So it just takes one more of those plays realistically, and they start getting themselves some of these tier 1s, and all this extra gold starts going into your pocket. All these extra items are picked up here, but it is still control at the very least here for Rutgers, as they're going to be able to at least own them away. But this triple Mountain Dragon looks like it's going to be coming up in about 5 seconds, and this should be going over towards Rutgers. It certainly is going to help them take away any of these objectives, and they will shred that Baron once it is live again.
Yeah, it was just clear control for the side of Rutgers Division 1, and the waves were just really not there for the side of Virginia Tech to force Rutgers out of the jungle. Now Baron finally up, and at the very least, you've got an advantage here. Yeah, look at this from Luna, hanging around the back, doesn't land anything.
They get the Ragnarok out. It was traded for that Ornn ultimates there. But like you said, not able to land the Tornado. That one's going to land, but he's not going to take it just yet. Now it's going to be the ultimate down towards the backside. Tristana's down in the fight, zoned away. Windwall zoning a lot of his damage here. That's going to be a lot of damage on Flower Kitty. He has to go gold and make sure he does not get hit by the bomb. While that's happening, Rem's got the resets. He's going in with the first one. That's going to make it a double. He's going to go over the wall. Nice flash from him. He does not get hit by the body slam. Make it another one. Phantom Brick, the only one alive. The triple kill from Rem, and he wants to make it a quadra. There is a lot of long death timers on the side of Virginia here, and that's going to be the fight they need to potentially end the game.
Yeah, what a fight coming out, and Rem staying alive through it all. You're going to have possibly the final push here. Only Phantom Brick to try and save this game, but the minion is there. The damage is coming through.
All this looks like this is it, Switch. They're on the Nexus here. They said they had to make some changes. Well, they certainly made some changes, resulting in the Nexus falling down. Game 2 is going to be secured. Going over towards Rutgers. Beautiful plays around the board here. Now going in towards game number 3.
Yeah, really sick stuff overall coming out from Rutgers Division 1. And what a different game than the first one that happened. I mean, it really was much more confidence in the hands of Rutgers Division 1. They made plays across the map. They tried to force it, even though it really wasn't determined which team would come out on top. But beautiful plays. They played with the double marksman composition as well, where they didn't overextend too far. They peeled back when they needed to. They kited back when they needed to. And honestly, it really came through right now for Rutgers Division 1. We now have the third game coming soon shortly.
Right, third game will be here, and can't wait for it, as it's going to be all on the line. We're going to even a replay here on that last fight here, Switch, just to see what Rem really did.
Yeah, honestly, you're going to be seeing 2 fights here, one in the top, one in the bot side. And as we move forward through this replay, just keep an eye on how Rem is playing this out, because it's all just kiting coming through. The top side really is all just tanks hitting each other. You don't need to worry about that. But Rem over here, beautiful QSS. He's going to get a little added time off of that one. A missed time with both the Rakan and the Gragas engaged is going to mean that Rem eventually goes forward. Going to reset over on this one, fly on over to over the wall, and flashes the Gragas.
So beautiful
body slam as well. It's just so crisp coming out, and that disjointed fight was fantastic for the side of Rutgers as a whole.
I would say absolutely here. And, it was actually all the tanks that I said may not be able to absorb the damage that did absorb the damage there. And they stalled long enough for that fight to swing in the way of Rem, just putting out the auto scaling like a Tristana does best and showing exactly what that entails there in that last fight, running it down and forcing game number 3. We said changes had to be made. Well, they made some changes there, Switch. And now we're going to have to see exactly what changes Virginia Tech is going to make going in towards game number 3. Both teams have both one on red side here now, so I'll have to see who's going to be on red side in towards our next game. But for now, we're going to get ready to throw it to a little bit of a break here, guys. Make sure you do not touch that browser. Do not go anywhere. You do not want to miss game number 3.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll rot into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world's calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you'll never see the price it costs. The scars collected all their lives. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat. Before it all starts, they suffer through harm just to touch a dream. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world's calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. When the world is calling out your name, begging you to fight. Pick yourself up once more. Pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world's calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die.
Tonight I'm coming out the shadows. Long time coming, gonna get what's mine. I'm here standing at the doorway, staring down my glory. It's my time. 'Cause I'm a light in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend now. Tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The raging, the glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. Time goes by in a moment. Can't blink now, only got one shot. It's all I need, gonna own it. Running to the top now, I won't stop. 'Cause I'm a light in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend now. Tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The raging, the glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. Tonight they'll write my story.
Song, it is tradition. I want everyone to get hyped, get involved, and sing along with me. Bee woo woo, boo dee doo, boo doo doo, boo dee woo, boo dee woo, boo doo doo, bee woo woo, boo.
And welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, to week one in the Risen Champs League, where, of course, we just had Rutgers D1 take game number 2, which means that we are going in towards game number 3 here between both of these teams here. Switch. We've had some back and forth games. Both teams, I believe, actually have one on red side here now. And going in towards this game number 3, coming into it, it's definitely going to be a little bit exciting. We'll have to see what changes are going to be made and what champions are going to be banned that were played in towards our last game.
Honestly, Visions, after seeing game 1, I was almost about ready to write it off. Virginia Tech looked like they were on another level in terms of team coordination, in terms of early game pressure as well. You just saw a big disparity in terms of mid lane and jungle that game 1. But once we went over to game 2, it was definitely much better looking for the side of Rutgers Division 1. They had a consistent lead and held it over the entire game. They scaled up with their 2 marksman composition, and they played it effectively as well. Now, while looking at it on paper, you say, oh, game 1, Virginia Tech, they won hard. They smashed, right? And game 2, Virginia Tech were not doing too badly either. So you would probably think, oh, Virginia Tech are still favored to win this. I will counter that with the argument that Rutgers Division 1 looked like a different team between game 1 and game 2. I don't know whether it was a morale boost or whether it was just getting past game 1 nerves, but really, I do think we have a great series on our hand because of how Rutgers D1 showed up in terms of their overall decision making. It was starkly different from game 1. You're hoping for another banger of a game coming through.
Yeah, they were proactive, which was something that I, was really criticizing because of game number 1. They were just kind of just, letting everything happen to them. It was Virginia Tech completely in control, in the driver's seat. And like you just said, it got swapped around going into towards game number 2, which makes our game number 3 that much more exciting because it's who's going to get those early snowballing leads going for themselves. Now, in towards game number 2 as well, Rutgers D1 did actually end up finding, that first blood that maybe was kind of the swing of things. Set the Silver really far behind. The Xayah had the advantages, and we saw how that played out with the bot lane pressure transitioning in towards the rest of the map. A lot of those objectives going down, specifically the dragons. They had taken 5 elementals throughout that last game there, 2 of them being airs and 3 of them being mountains, which just helps the Tristana, helps the Xayah absolutely shred those towers when they get near them. And really that last team fight really solidifying, what the mechanics are like on some of these champions as well, specifically Rem, who played that fight absolutely beautifully. So I'll have to see if the Tristana is going to be going back over, but we're getting ready for champion selects here, ladies and gentlemen, to see what champions will be locked in for us in game number 3. It's all in line to see who will get themselves on the board in week 1.
Yeah, and let's talk about a concept that really helped propel Rutgers to their victory in game 2. It was really the good lane assignments for the solo laners. Top and mid swapped. They got the Tristana versus Ornn matchup, with which, while it wasn't as one-sided as you would think for the Tristana, the thing is, though, that lane lasted at least 15 minutes, and it was basically just Tristana shoving Ornn into tower again and getting cute chunks off here and there. And yeah, they were going back and forth in terms of the 1v1, but the tower plating gold was still in favor for the Tristana. Mid lane, it was back and forth. The Yasuo did get kills every now and then onto the Kled, but really the Kled survived and was a great utility for Engage once you got to those mid games. Really absorbed a lot of attention that then let the double marksman the double marksman composition thrive. So now, as we get towards this next game, the Kled is gonna make a return here for the side of Rutgers.
No surprise, it played extremely well. It did also get some extra golden towards the mid lane there up against the Yasuo, but there's some quick responses coming through. They're actually going to lock themselves in the Renekton as well as the Lucian here.
Okay, I like the Lucian coming through here because I think you do need a good amount of playmaking coming in for the bot side here for Virginia Tech. I think they were just smothered out because of all the pressure that Xayah Swain had coming out from the side of Rutgers. But you look at the response here for the side of Rutgers, and I'm thinking we are going to see another smother again coming in from the bot side. Caitlyn Morgana is such a difficult duo to deal with because one snare can mean possible death if you don't have the summoners to really facilitate an escape.
Absolutely. it can be a little bit difficult to deal with, as we actually did have a dodge from one of the players there, but it does give us an opportunity to talk about at least the champions that have been picked thus far. And we did have an Akali that was actually locked in there for us, which is something we haven't seen as much priority on Switch, especially as of late here. But Virginia Tech do have Luna in towards the mid lane, and I'm not going to criticize that champion skill and what it can do until I see Luna play it himself, because I feel like he's actually played a pretty good series this far so far in towards this entire best of 3.
And what a departure from the pick and ban plays that Virginia Tech were making in Game 1 and Game 2. If you recall, they had a designated point of contention where they would have one carry, possibly in the bot or possibly in the mid lane. For Game 2, it was in the mid lane Yasuo, and they had playmakers to facilitate that carry around it. They had stuff like the Sivir in the bot lane. They had the Ornn consistently being played Game 1 and Game 2 in the top side. This time around, though, it literally just looks like 3 very aggressive early lanes coming through for the side of Virginia Tech. You have the Renekton in the top side, the Lucian, we don't know who it's going to be paired with, but aggressive in the bot side, and now this Akali to throw into the mix. It feels like they're maybe removing all the weights of playing logically and playing to one lane, and they're just saying, nah, screw it, we're just going to go ball out, we're just going to have a full court press and hopefully gain advantages by smashing our opponents in the early lanes.
Yeah, the early lanes is definitely something that played an effect in towards, really both of these wins so far for each team, which, just puts that much more emphasis on how important some of these early game champions picked up in towards the draft here are really going to be. And I think looking at the junglers for both of these teams is going to be key, because we've seen both of them at least show what they're capable of doing. I mean, I'm sure if you haven't, check Twitter for the time being while we're waiting here for the load in on the draft, for as far as, that Gragas play that we saw on the top side. We know that they are obviously mechanically skilled enough to make things happen in towards the early game, and that Gragas ultimate in towards the body stand was beautiful. And we also saw some great things on the opposite side of things, though, with the Olaf. I felt like they made a lot of proactive plays around the objectives with the first towers, and that Olaf was really solidifying a lot of those 2v2 wins, because it is such a strong duo, no matter usually who it's paired with, just because of the brawling potential that champion does have, the healing, everything that is entered in towards an Olaf's kit is definitely devastating here. But we're backing towards champion select at the very least to see what other champions will be coming through for us here in toward game number 3.
And as we do catch up back to where we were with the pick and ban phase, I gotta agree with you on that one, especially ASAP Jazzy in that last game for the side of Rutgers had a much better performance than the passivity that we saw in Game 1. And really, it was just that. It was securing big objectives like first tower gold, like the Rift Herald, getting those 2 big sources of advantage off of the map and being able to hold the lead throughout the entire game. Once you got to the 30-minute mark for the side of Rutgers, you win that game like 4 out of 5 times, honestly, because by that time, 2 Mountain Drakes, 2 Cloud Drakes, and you have a double marksman composition. I don't really care how easy it is to itemize for the tank Ornn on the side of Virginia Tech. It really doesn't matter, because you're going to get out TPS'd eventually. But as we catch back up with the pick and ban, it's actually going to be in top-down order. So we're seeing the junglers already locked in. It's going to be Elise versus Zac. Quite a contrast, I will say, because Elise is all about the early game, right? And she does have ways to pick on the Zac as well. The Cocoon is such a fantastic tool to set up collapses on a Zac who is sometimes a bit unhealthy in those early clears, a bit slow as well. But as this game scales further and further into us, the Zac just has a much easier time. Like the Zac, you just slingshot, you bounce on in, as opposed to the Elise, where late game, you're just a cocoon bot if you weren't fed, right? If you can't build AP, you're strictly there to try and distract some of those backline carries. You're just throwing yourself at them so that hopefully the rest of your team will clean it up.
Yeah, but something that we have to talk about with the Elise is one of the most significant things. And for any Elise players in the chat, when you have a Renekton top lane, like that's free dives. It is a Kled, and Kled is a little bit difficult to dive because of the remount, but it is such an easy setup for the Renekton to stack away because he's a lane bully. He can build up a huge, massive wave. Elise can just come in behind the tower and just set up for an easy cocoon because of the stun from Renekton. So I really want to watch for that to see if Flower Kitty is going to be looking to play around that, because you almost would expect them to go for the top lane ganks here and just try and set that up over and over again. But even then, you have great 2v2 potential with your Akali Luna in towards Rem here on the Aurelia, which, shut Rem down actually in towards game number 1 there. And now he's getting to try it for himself to see if he's going to be able to go toe-to-toe here with the Akali.
Yeah, no, honestly, both of these comps make a lot of sense. Actually, even down to the coaches' names. You got Blue over here, you got Red over here. Just an insane amount of synergy. How could you really go wrong with either of these teams? But of course, one is going to come out on top, of course. And for me, I would actually favor the side of Virginia Tech because this is such a departure. If you recall, in game 1, they just smashed the early game and they found themselves to a very quick victory off of that one. I think we might see a similar story here where you've got Luna, one of the standout players for Virginia Tech, on the Akali. You've got Phantom Brick sort of unchained off of Ornn duty, and now he's on the Renekton, who can go toe-to-toe with the Kled. And to really put everything into fourth gear, you've got the Elise to round this all out. The one that's going to hopefully be getting an advantage in the early game and going to be setting up plays much quicker than the Zac.
Absolutely. It's very clear Virginia Tech want to win the early game here based off all the lanes that have been picked up for them. And Rutgers D1 need it to go a little bit later, play around that team fight, and use that engage from the Zac to set up the Caitlyn and Aurelia for success. But we'll have to see how things are really going to have to play out. So we are going to get ready to throw it to a short little break here, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know in the chat who you think will be taking game number 3. Will it be Rutgers D1 or will it be Virginia Tech to take the first week here in Risen Champ League? But we're going to throw it to a break here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that browser. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back here, ladies and gents, as we get ready to jump in towards our game number 3, the last game for the night. This will determine who will start off the season here 1-0 and start to have that first win already underneath your belts. And if you are just tuning in, it was Rutgers D1 that took the last game there, answering back in towards the draft that worked out extremely well for them. Now every single team that has played on red side here, Switch, has actually won. Virginia Tech are back on red side, and they also have a very good early game composition. So if they do get snowballing in towards the early game, things could actually get a little bit scary here for RD1.
Yeah, true enough, Visions. The numbers don't lie, and 100% win rate on red side is for a good reason. It's really the solo lanes that have been able to garner advantages for either team. The side of Rutgers, it was really game 2 where they were able to just smother out the opponents with the Xayah Swain combo, but this time around going to be Caitlyn Morgana versus Lucian Nautilus, two bot lanes that are trying to achieve very different things, but or rather trying to get the same results but in different ways. For the side of the Lucian Nautilus, you're really just trying to work towards the all-in, land that hook and get a lot of upfront damage from your Lucian. And for the side of the Caitlyn Morgana, a bit more nuanced, a bit of a slower grind where you're just slowly chipping away at your opponents, and you'll hopefully land a killing binding that's going to set you up with a great amount of gold propel your lead, maybe even get some tower plates on the side of that.
Yeah, that's definitely the objective with the Caitlyn Morgana, and you want to get that shove. You have a massive range difference versus the Lucian. You can punish that with the help of the zoning there from the Morgana. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that to see if they're going to be able to play that to its full effectiveness. Looks like Elise is going to be starting on towards the blue side. Zach actually starting on the Wolves here, leashless. So Zach doesn't have the best clear in towards the early game, but he's maybe just trying to throw off some of the pathing to see if he can just make the Elise think about what he's going to be doing. And just, I like the difference coming in towards it. He might probably start all 3 camps, and he's going to reset and go in towards the bot side. Rem and Luna already trading back and forth, but Rem's going to take a very bad trade here early on.
You know, Visions, we've casted our fair share of Irelia versus Akali. Hang on. As the hook is actually able to land. Yeah. Oh, what a nice binding. Yeah, absolutely. We've casted our fair share of Irelia versus Akali, and I will say, not that I've been keeping count or anything, but Akali is a very good champion as opposed to Irelia, who, yeah, she's a good champion. Thing is, though, she needs to be set up to be a good champion. If you play Irelia and you don't get fed in the early game, it's not as fun as you would imagine, to be honest.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. It can be a little bit scary towards playing that champion at the very least here. Flowers Kitty now on towards the red buff here, looking to hit that level 3. Actually a little bit behind in tempo here to the Zach, who is actually farming pretty well. Rem has the Eon towards him, but there's going to be no retake here. Luna just patiently waiting, playing around his jungler, and Elise is now actually moving in towards the jungle just to try and figure out where the Zach is, because there really was no leash, so there is no real idea of where he is on the map. But at least knowing that all the camps are down in towards the top side, meaning that Zach has to be on the bottom side of the map, who went for a full clear, and they're actually setting up for a very early dive. I talked about this in the draft here, Switch, and they're already setting it up.
Yeah, and if you get a remount here, it'd actually be crucial, but it's going to happen either way. The damage coming down, you can see Elise tanking.
Oh, she needs the repel, and there it is. Just such a beautiful setup. This is one of the nastiest combos that you have here is Elise and Renekton. It's an easy stun into the cocoon. You layer the CC, the damage is too much, and Blade Cube is already going to get a feeling of this Elise in towards the top side here and see how it goes.
Exactly. You laid it out perfectly. You just wait for the cocoon to hit right after the Renekton stun. That's the best part. You don't gotta think it too hard, so you can focus on communication more than anything. You can see it's orchestrated fantastically, and that's the first blood that you're looking for. Now ASAP Jazzy colliding onto the bot side, but doesn't actually make an impact.
Fortune does not. Elise posturing around, looking for a mid lane gank, but a nice actual ward in towards the river here is going to spot out that Elise, so not going to find anything, but the wave still going to push back here in towards Ram slowly but surely. And now this is what we talked about. The Caitlyn Morgana looking to farm underneath the tower, start getting themselves a little bit of turret plating. Jazzy's actually maybe looking for a potential gank. Rem's dashing around here with the blade surge. He's going to go in. He's maybe trying to bait it out. That's going to be a lot of damage on Rem. He's in some trouble here. He's going to have to flash away. And here comes Flower Kitty 420, seeing if he's going to be able to get himself in towards the mix. Does have the flash cocoon, but it's going to be flashed away. Now, neither jungler going to have that flash in their summoner spells.
Yeah, and it was not luck that actually allowed the Akali to dodge out. It was actually the fact that she's playing to her jungle. Hang on, as Fong trying to get the damage down, double, or rather flash blown away from the Morgana on that one. Nice play.
Beautiful play coming out. Nice trade. Slice and dice coming through for the Renekton here, who's got himself a CS lead as well as a kill lead there over top of his counterpart. And like you said, the Caitlyn Morgana lane, you know, if they get caught without that black shield or that binding, they can get punished very easily for that. And we're actually going to see a beautiful ward set up here. I believe it was from the mid laner, maybe from the jungler, but that's going to spot out the Zac here, and we're going to be able to track him, which is going to be crucial because we know those elastic slingshot ganks can come out of nowhere. So having an idea of where he is on the map all the time is so important, especially in the early game.
Yeah, it's these little cases where you find a Zac here, you find a Zac there, and you're able to sort of deduce his pathing, but that does take quite a good amount of concentration, and it takes a bit of juggling from the players overall to be able to pull that one off. That's why you really only see true jungle tracking at the highest levels of play. But either way, now, as we get a bit further on into the game, pretty much every lane is going even for the most part. Just that first blood from the Renekton that is really swaying the gold 700 into the favor of Virginia Tech right now.
Exactly it. The Elise could look to go back up there. Again, no longer has that flash available due to trading it there for Jazzy's, which I don't know if it's actually worth, but if the cocoon, of course, lands, then you do end up getting a kill most likely. But either way, not going to have that. Still able to make plays on towards the map. Not opting in for the early boots here on the Elise, but we do have Jazzy who's setting up for a bot lane gank. The pink ward was put in towards the second line brush, and they could definitely look for something. There is no flash on towards the Nautilus, and they're going to go in. Lots of slingshots going to find him. Does not manage to find the Q. No follow-up CC, and the Ignite actually came down, so that's going to be a gank, but no result in a kill.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. No kills coming out. So once again, Jazzy he splats onto a lane, but it's not a kill. And now Flower Kitty trying to respond.
Oh, that's
There's
going
the
to be the cocoon landing. That's going to be Rem, though, with the fancy feet for now. Has to dodge the perfect execution, but no, Luna says, I got the damage. Shuts him down there, and that's going to be another tower dive for Flower Kitty, ending up in another successful kill.
Yes, so difficult to actually outrun an Akali, especially when you're getting cornered by an Elise, and that's going to mean a kill here for Luna, and it's really looking to be going the right way for every single lane of Virginia Tech at the moment. Bottom lane, it's not necessarily designed to win lane, because I would really give that over to Caitlyn Morgana. It's really the premier win lane, win game bot lane, but Lucian Nautilus has a great mid-game power spike where you're getting a good amount of upfront damage from your Lucian. You've got a great balance of both tankiness and engage coming out from the Nautilus, and they just both facilitate this fast, aggressive style of play that you can manage to pull off if you're the side of Virginia Tech, because look at the pieces around you. You've got the Akali with a kill in her pocket to facilitate that. The Renekton as well, who brings a huge amount of damage. It could really all come together for Virginia Tech if they manage to maintain this advantage.
Absolutely. And again, every single team that's played on red side has actually won so far in towards the series, which is something you have to keep your mind or eyes on, because again, the lead is in favor of Virginia Tech, like Switch was just talking about here, and there isn't a whole lot of proactivity going on, and that's really due to the champions that have been picked up. And Luna's going to find himself a Zac, and he's going to have the elastic slingshot away, but keeping the tracking here, this is so crucial, because again, we talked about the elastic slingshot charge up, but when you track him, it just makes it so hard for him to make plays on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just look at all the aggressive vision that you're seeing right now for the side of Virginia Tech. It's just trying their best to track Zac as much as possible. And right now, they probably have deduced that Zac's around the bot side. You can see him showing up, actually. I don't know if Coco's going to get hit or not. No, It's actually the dragon started, but Jazzy is in the vicinity. This could be a retaliation coming through for Rutgers, but only if they have the information to facilitate it.
That's right. Free Dragon. Not the worst to give over an Air Dragon. So they're just going to concede it. They have to make sure that they stall this game out as long as possible. The Caitlyn needs to come online so they can really start sieging. Trying to get some of these other members out of these difficult situations. You know, we see Luna putting a lot of pressure on the mid lane. He's setting up for this mid lane gank here again. So this actually looks like it might be another kill on Rem. He does have the flash, he does have the Vanguard's edge, so it could be a little bit messy. But regardless, they're going to go for it. The teleport's going to come through. And now this is going to be the Cocoon actually landing. They're going to pull the trigger there. Ignite ticking down. He's very low. Will he go back in? Not even needed. Flower Kitty going to get it, but the re-engage coming through with the Elastic Slingshot. Does not find it. Ultimate coming through as well. Going to see if they can land that damage. Flower Kitty now going to flash away. Going back in is going to be Phantom Brick. Trying to find that kill on Kled. That's going to be the engage, but Phantom Brick is going to clean up the kill. They're going to find themselves a 2-for-0 in the mid lane.
Yeah, and again, another aggressive play coming out from the side of Virginia Tech, playing in the same fashion as they did game one, where they're not wasting any opportunities, not wasting any time. You can see the Cocoon landing directly onto the Aurelia. Just so much upfront damage. This engage coming through. Problem is, Elise is still healthy. You've got Shroud to facilitate this as well, and the damage coming through from Phantom Brick as well. Just in the thick of things, able to get enough damage down, and that was just another positive play coming out for the side of Virginia Tech.
Red side.
It's okay, I'm not going to.
The difference maker so far. As we'll have to see if it's going to continue here. Bot lane has pretty much been the calmest thing so far in towards this game. We have some summoners blown, but no kills going down. All the action's been in the top side of the map and in towards the mid lane here, and starting to see some of that plating going down. The Rift Herald's still very much alive and active on towards the top side of the map here, so we might just see a setup around that while the turret plating is going to be up here for the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds or so. And this is a stage where, you know, things get a little bit scary because we're seeing, you know, the side of Virginia play extremely well around the map. They're starting to use even the Fog of War, using Luna right now. As they're actually maybe setting up for a potential dive down here, but instead just going to actually back away, just going to drop some vision and try and spot out Jazzy.
Yeah, again, it's the jungle tracking. You would have thought it was the invade, or rather the collapse onto the bot lane, but it's really just the tracking. And when you look at it, it's really paying off. The CS advantages because the solo lanes are allowed to play aggressively. Luna up 20. Phantom Brick in the top lane, slowly accruing himself a 25 CS lead. And here might be an opportunity for Jazzy, but once again, such safe play coming out from the bot lane of Virginia Tech. They know that they're really the only susceptible lane, because if Zach tries to go into the mid lane, that could be turned around. We've all seen the Akali highlight play where she just turns around a 1v2. You go into the top lane, similar story can actually happen. The Dominus is such a powerful tool, and also this top lane is kind of dead. Like, even if you do get a kill into Kled's pocket, it's not necessarily going to help you at this point in the game, right? Renekton has already accrued 2 kills, 20 CS up at the moment, and getting 1 extra kill onto the Kled isn't going to change the game. It's not going to mean that you can now play 1-4 split push. It's still very much in control for Virginia Tech. This is deep for Luna in particular. Ooh. Let's see if he can get out of this one.
Oh, very nice chain CC. Let's bounce. It's going to come through. Luna tries to get away with the perfect execution, but Rem says no. And finally, we're going to see RG1 get themselves on the board with a kill over towards the mid laner.
And a bit of a mispositioning coming out, but it's not the end of the world by any means. Turret plating is now going to be falling off. I'm sure Fanabrick might just bait himself into getting this last turret play.
Ooh, bear trap on a rope.
Trap actually resets. That's very nice. And Vanderbrick is going to be able to slide on out of that one. Plating about to go down. I was actually just waiting for Vanderbrick to just man up and just take that last hit on the tower. But no, his good judgment gets the better of him, unfortunately.
That's right. He's probably still going to wait around for it. Elise also making her way towards the top side of the map, rightly so, as that will go down. The first tower is going to go all over towards the top laner here. The Phantom Brick doing an excellent job. Has a good gold lead, and now an even bigger one here, as we're going to see the Rift Herald dropped in towards the mid lane. The plating is no longer active, meaning that this is probably just going to be a mid lane tower going through. Jazzy's here, but the mid laner is not catching him off of great resets. Actually, we're going to see a dive in. We're going to see the repel come through. Rip Trail still active, and this is a little bit dangerous, but the charge now, they're looking to force a play. The teleports are coming through. Luna in some trouble. He's going to be taken down.
Okay.
Blade Cube is going to secure that. Jazzy's low, but not going to die. Now Renekton is going to convert on towards one. We have the 1-for-1 in the fight. Flower Kitty, nowhere to kill. Lands a cocoon. He's going to get himself out here, and now Phantom Brick has all clean up the party. Able to get himself another one. We're going to see Zach try and get something, but the spike is going to send him in the passive. And while that's happening, well, we got the bot lane starting to scrimmage it out. We're see the ultimate come through, but it gets blocked, and the action is starting to drop, but it is all Virginia on the map.
Yeah, Virginia clutching out 2 team fights, both in the mid and the bot side. It was actually just a clean 2v2 victory here in the bot side. You could see right over here, Lucian poised and ready to engage here, but this is the snare that starts it off. The soul shackles right after that one, but the heal is going to allow the calling as well. Going to allow Lucian to just kite this one out. The Morgana at the end of the day is the one exposed, and this last snipe, not a chance, as Oko's gonna eat that one up for breakfast.
And this is looking a lot like game number 1 here, where Virginia, did exactly this, built themselves up massive leads. And, this Renekton is actually so scary. Like, I would not want to be walking in towards this champion in the laning phase. He's so scary. Level 11 now as well. Has so many items built up for himself. The big one is really the Spirit Trojan. As we know, that is just so good on a champion like Renekton when he pops his ultimate. So this is now looking good, as there still needs to be a lot of stalling that comes out for the side of RD1. They need the Caitlyn to really come online. They're lacking a lot of damage. They have the good engage tools all around the board, and they have a lot of anti-CC with the Black Shield, but they need their actual carry champions to really come online before they're going to be able to match this damage of Virginia.
Well, here's the real problem that I'm seeing. It's that Luna is in the top side, actually.
Right.
It's just
real problem here is Blade Cube is going down for the
problem,
4th time of the game. He's just going to be clean. He's just dancing around with them. He's just going to pick him up. And there you go.
As I have said time and time again, that is suboptimal. But this might be better.
Thought switch. That's a kill going down. That is going to be a nice dodge there. They get themselves the support at the very least, and maybe going for more. Mobster has to use the 90 caliber net, but look at the mid laner. Here comes Rem. He's looking to answer back, and that's going to actually result in them backing away for now, but still another 2 kills going to go back over towards Virginia.
I mean, mid blown wide open right now for the side of Virginia Tech. They are wasting no time getting tower damage on that one. Finally, Zach gonna pop in. Does collide with the Renekton. That's gonna force the flash out, but that you're honestly happy about that push overall. You take 3/4 of that mid tier 2, which is so important, and a pick as well. The side of Virginia Tech have made a home in the jungle of Rutgers, and now this is the re-engage.
They're gonna fight. Vanguard's edge was popped there. Rem's trying to get himself in, but Renekton is too damn strong. He's gonna take down another 2, adding to 7 kills in this game. We're only 18 minutes in, and they're getting ready to break open the base. 5 men in towards the mid lane, but they want to play it safe. They know they don't have to overforce the base just yet. They're just going to grab themselves a tier 2 from the top side.
Very smart stuff. And once again, you're committing, you're making these conscious plays around the map for the side of Virginia Tech, and they are not caught off guard by these re-engages as well. You're really getting the perfect storm hit you right now for the side of Rutgers, because the Caitlyn I just love these angles right here. Look at that quality. Thank you, Risen Esports, for the insane production quality. Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn goes through a power trough when she gets out of laning phase and before her third zeal, or her second zeal item, rather. You've got not enough damage coming through on both the Kled and the Irelia, the premier divers in your composition. So how are you really going to make this team fight work out when you move forward into the future? You really just have to wait on the Caitlyn to scale way into this game, the Zac to get much tankier, to buy time for the Caitlyn, and hopefully for the Kled and the Irelia, maybe just build Bruise or build tank at this point, because you're really just trying to buy attention, buy time.
Yeah, and Blade Cube might be able to get himself out here. At the very least, he could maybe go for the execute, but it actually looks like he's going to be A-okay. So he does manage to get himself out of the little bit of a awkward situation with the rest of the team collapsing on him, but will not give over a kill. which is going to be good at the very least. It is something going for them, but the Baron's going to be spawning in 30 seconds, and we saw very early on in game number 1 how they two-manned it, took it right underneath the noses of RD1. They didn't even know that it was being taken because they had 3 members in the mid lane. They played it just perfectly well, and they could look to do that again as they have some champions that are able to do a lot of damage to it here, but it is still all about the stalling, and they have the Zac at the very least. Jazzy could look in to go for a potential steal with the Elastic Slingshot being so long, and he has it fully maxed out now too. It's just going to be so hard to posture around here. The goal lead is pretty significant, closing in on 10,000, and that's big when you have a early game composition drafted for yourself here on the side of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, well, for Virginia Tech, it gets better and better as the game ages because the 3rd Cloud Drake is actually coming up very soon. They have absolute control around this red quadrant of Rutgers jungle, and I'm gonna have no problems securing that one up. So 3 Cloud Drakes. What does this really mean? I would personally say that if you're split pushing, the escapes get better for someone like a Renekton or someone like an Akali. When you're team fighting, it gets better for your dive play. Akali in particular is going to have such an easy time just flying on over into the backline, and as a whole, your team's just going to be rotating faster. As you can see here, they just have the inside track. They run much quicker, and they're going to be able to secure this bot tier 2.
Yeah, they're just pretty much taking all the resources here in the jungle. They're taking down all the towers in the side lanes, and there's no response that can come through from RD1 because there's no one that deals damage. Rem just now finishes Triforce here about 21 minutes in towards the game. That just goes to show you the amount of punish in that mid lane that has went on towards him, losing all the towers here. 6 in favor of Virginia Tech, and this might be another kill going down. Rem's going to be able to at least get himself away there. Phantom Brick looking to add towards that nasty score he's built up for himself. 7 kills, no assist. He is just a crocodile, and he just takes everything he wants and doesn't give anything over towards anyone else, and this is just beautiful play overall. But the Baron has now been live for the last minute and 40 seconds, meaning that we are seeing this whole setup coming through. The vision is going to start to be taken out, and as we get a great display of Summoner's Rift of just how dark it is on the map, especially now that the vision has been cleared here around the Baron. And then you see the opposite side. That's just beautiful setup, just all red that you see around that Baron pit here. So this is looking very good for Virginia Tech here at this stage in the game.
And information in favor for the side of Virginia as they are trying to punish a Zac that's gone too far. What a hook!
Oh, they found him. Jazzy's going to be able to pop that ultimate, but they're going to use the ultimate now, seeing if they can pop that passive. Cocoon stays and locks him in place, but the flash hook is going to find the Kaelin. Appleby mobster falling down. Flower Kitty's going to clean that up. They lose the jungler, and with no jungler switch, that is going to result in that Baron going over to Virginia.
I just cannot get enough of how Virginia is playing this right now. Just superb stuff, even down to that beautiful hook out of the Nautilus, really intercepting the Zac as he went through with the slingshot, started the entire fight, and this Baron is as good as dead for the side of Virginia Tech.
And this is not good. We said the early game composition, if they snowball in the draft, it pretty much looks like it's going to be over. Now they have a massive goal lead in this one. We're going to replay here on this switch.
Visions, you got to take a look at my guy Coco. What a hook coming in. The snare doesn't matter because you've got the collapse coming through. Luna into the backline just makes quick work of both the Zac and Irelia. A second hook from Coco, able to lock down the Caitlyn. It's just Virginia Tech on fire right now, and just the side of Rutgers left in awe as they now have Baron Mins getting pressed into the base soon.
This is not looking good. They're going to be able to get themselves in here. They do have a Kaelin, which is pretty good at stopping the siege, but the issue is, again, they're so far behind. Only 2 items here for this Kaelin, as they're going to find a hook, and they're going to be able to lair some CC, as well as the trap, but that is a Nautilus, fairly tanky.
This is a punish.
Yeah, they're going to go back in. That's going to be another binding thrown out, but the teleport's coming down, and now the Cocoon is going to land on Jazzy. Sweaty Toes very low, but Jazzy's going to be the target, and goodbye. Flower Kitty takes down the first kill of the fight. Renekton is in. Ultimate has already been popped, and they're going to be looking for a little bit more off that pick.
Yeah, now man advantage as well, as you've got Luna slowly heading over down the mid lane. You're going to be able to play a split push style, and this bot lane tower is going to evaporate. No one really to respond quite yet. The Caitlyn isn't online. Clyde and Irelia don't have the damage to facilitate any retaliation, and that's the inhibitor going down. Just going to make the next parts of this game so much sweeter for the side of Virginia Tech. Now they just need to walk back out, wait for those super minions to start piling into the bot lane. In the picture-in-picture, you're just seeing once again a fantastic play. But look before you, another play coming out here as the side of Rutgers are trying to manage what they can here, but the next inhibitor going down.
Yeah, they're still playing in the base. And like you said, the next inhibitor falls. They have a wave set up. They actually set up all the waves perfectly. I don't know if it was intentional, but we'll say that it is because they're playing so well. And this is going to be the last inhibitor tower falling. You have to force a fight here. You cannot go down three inhibitors. And here comes Jazzy. Finds a nice engage, but is there anyone to follow it up? Flower Kitty takes him down, going for more. Ram is on the backside, but he gets taken down. 3 members fall. That will be the ultimate bounce from Nautilus. They're looking for everything. Galen falls down. 4 members get taken down for RD1. And that's going to be Virginia Tech closing out game number 3 in amazing fashion. Luna says, I want to add towards the KDA and add one more here, but it's not going to be able to do it in time. The Nexus is going to fall down. And ladies and gentlemen, Virginia Tech will secure a first win in week number 1.
Yeah, it was just a dream at that last team fight for the side of Rutgers as they were trying to get off on the right foot here in week 1 of Risen Champions, trying to take the first game of their season. But unfortunately, it was the better team showing up today, Virginia Tech, that end up taking tonight's match. Just crisp gameplay here in this back half of the series. The third game was just sheer domination for Virginia Tech, but we cannot forget how they had another spectacular game in the first. It was really the same story, just different champions this time around, as Virginia Tech have proven that their ceiling is massive.
And I think that due towards that last game, you know, going all in on an early game composition and setting up the early dives is really what propelled them to get that. But again, every single win came through on red side, which is something to really think about as every single game is dominating. We're even going to get one more replay here on this last team fight here, Switch.
The final team fight, you're really going to feel the lack of gold in the pockets of Rutgers Esports. You can see the divers arriving into the backline. No one's taking damage. It's really just Elise that's taking the most of the damage. You pan over to the bot side. It was just Phantom Brick putting on a clinic into the backline. They finally get on top of Caitlyn, but the game's pretty much over by that time. Blade Q just trying to preserve his KDA, but no KDA is safe from Luna here on the Akali, perhaps. As, actually, dang. That sucks.
Oh, but the Nexus is the prize.
Yeah,
doesn't get the kill, but I think Luna definitely found a bunch of kills in game number 1 and 2. This one wasn't so much about him, it was more about the top laner, who really set the pace of the game, did exactly what he needed to do, and they played the Elise Renekton absolutely perfect. They dived level 3 as you typically do with that composition. They should have expected it, but either way, the kill had already went down, and you got to give credit to this team for playing that composition the best you really could in towards the early game. And, you know, big congratulations towards Virginia Tech for closing out their first win in towards the series. And before the cast even started, Switch, we talked about how important getting that first win is under your belt. And when you go all the way to a game number 3, that feels good. You know what I mean? Like, it goes good against a team that had taken a win off of you, pretty dominating as well. So you know that they were evenly matched. But in the end, I feel like the draft got the best of RD1 there in towards this last game.
Yeah, and if there's one player I really want to highlight here for the side of Virginia Tech, I think it would be Luna in the mid lane. Really a standout performance versus his counterpart. And honestly, Luna, you put this guy on a carry and he will deliver. That final game on Akali, he was one of the troops leading the charge for the side of Virginia Tech. And that third game as a whole, it felt like once you gave the side of Virginia Tech all these carry champions, it's like the weights were lifted. Why are we playing Ornn in the top side? Why are we playing these other champions in the mid side? Just give my boy Luna the Akali and he will send them packing home. Look at that skill. And it just got better and better. Virginia Tech is definitely a team to be feared.
Yeah, that was just one of the few highlights that we got in this entire series. There were so many of them that that we got. Make sure you guys head over towards the Risen Esports Twitter if you want to get a few of those clips and see what did happen if you did miss them. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it here for the cast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that follow button at the top to get notified when we do go live in towards the future for all of our leagues and all of our games. As well as if you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button to get the extra perk that comes along with subbing to the channel. That is going to be it here for the production team, for the whole broadcast crew. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next stream.